Greetings. This is AG here. And I was just doing that because I wanted to give homage to one of the most important people that ever influenced me. This gentleman right here. Today, this was his birthday weekend. Mr. James Marshall Hendrix. He's one of the greatest musicians that ever lived. Why? Because he connected with the spiritual. There was no filter. He connected directly with the all, and he's a testament to what we all can become as human beings. There was no filter. There was no nothing that blocked him from receiving what he was downloading from the universe. I could probably speak on hours on him. There's a real interesting story I'd like to tell y'all. I'll tell you eventually about how I got a guitar lesson from him. That was wild. That was like a dream. And then a few weeks later, I read a book, and there were some things that were in that book that had never been published, and I learned about them in this dream. So anyway, that being said, rest in peace, ancestor Jimi Hendrix. I hope I didn't dishonor him too bad with that, playing around with that, but was just having fun. Okay. So today what I want to talk about is failure. Now that's something that everybody's scared of, is failure. Your people are afraid of failing. But I'm going to tell you, I got some bad news for you. If you endeavor to do anything in this world, you will fail. You're going to fail. Why do I say that? Because you will. Isaac Newton he discovered a law. He was an alchemist, by the way. Isaac Newton, most people don't know that. So the stuff that he was supposedly discovering was already discovered thousands of years before he used to read the alchemy books, and he figured some things out. But anyway, when you move in one direction, this is physics, you will always have an opposing energy coming against you. That's why when they build airplanes, they build them with the least resistance, so that they won't have the what do you call it wind resistance. They test them out in the air in tunnels, in wind tunnels, and so they know there's going to be resistance. So they build whatever they're building with the idea of knowing that there's going to be resistance. So what needs to be done is, whatever you're building something, you need to build that into your plan. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever told you that before, but for example, if you're building a business, you got to plan to fail. Now, what are you saying, plan to fail? What do you mean plan to fail? I plan to succeed. I want to succeed, man. I'm not thinking about failure, but you need to think about failure. The reason why most businesses, most businesses will be successful, maybe 2 years in, 3 years in, but you know why they fail? Because they don't plan for when they hit that ditch. Okay, when the storm comes, they don't plan for that. They don't have a lifeboat. They don't have life jackets. You say, well, I've heard, like Eddie Murphy said, I don't have a plan B, which is correct. I burn my ships, but that's different from what I'm talking about. See, you can burn your ships. When Hannibal burned his ships. This is a story. Hannibal was an African general, and he was the only one to get within the gates of Rome and actually damn near conquer the Romans. What did he do? He had like 30, 40, 15, whatever it is, elephants. And he burned his ships. He said, there's no way back to Carthage. There's no way back to Africa, so we're gonna do this. And he was killing the Romans. He was just taking them out because he didn't have plan B. But here's the thing: the difference between what I'm talking about and what Hannibal did was, you can have your plan. You don't think of failure in that aspect. You think of what could happen in the future to block me, and you have countermeasures in place. For instance, let's say you are creating a hair salon. There's a lot of young ladies out there and men out there that do hair, and you have your place. You have you have your name on the wall, like I don't know, some name like Golden Locks or whatever it is you're gonna have, and you have everything. Everything's nice and neat and clean and everything. You're ready to go, right? And you get in there 2 years, man. You are banging it, man. You are making all this money and everything, and everything's set up and cool and everything. But then we have a hurricane. The hurricane comes through, and it wipes everything out. You could have flood insurance or whatever, but you don't have enough flood insurance, or you don't have enough to cover supplies. You get so hot that you whatever you're making. Say you're making cookies, whatever it is, and you get so hot that you run out of capital to make to get more flour or whatever it is you need to get. So you haven't planned for that type of thing, right? And it can destroy you. You will run into obstacles. Why? Because a man that sits on his butt will be sitting on his butt. But a man that goes to the mountain and climbs the mountain, what is he going to experience? He's going to get tired. Legs going to get sore. You know what I'm saying? He going to get winded. He might get hungry. He going to get cold. He might get thirsty. So what do? You carry your jacket. You carry some food. You might carry your tent. You know what I mean? Suppose you run into a mountain lion. Now, when I was doing my hiking in Topanga Canyon, there was wolves running around here. You know what I mean? I was semi-prepared. The brothers that went with me, they was prepared. They had the right clothes on. My clothes were getting ripped. I had a nice pair of boots on, but it was crazy, right? So you have to know what you're up against. So if you're building a business, right, you do your research, see what your marketing is, all that kind of stuff, but you're prepared for your obstacles. And then even if you're not prepared, you have to have the mentality, like water. So that if you're something thrown in your way, you will go around it. That's part of not having a plan B. Most people misunderstand not having a plan B is, I'm not going to have another way to get around this or whatever. I'm not going to retreat. Well, you might have to retreat. But the attitude of not having a plan B means is, if I want to be a hairdresser, if I want to bake cookies, if I want to, and I know this is what I'm supposed to do, then this is what I'm going to do. And I will find a way to do it. Okay? I don't care what gets in the way. If that's the attitude of water. If something gets in the way of water, what does the water do? Water flows around it. Water will bore a hole through it. That's one of the reasons why Bruce Lee, I have to give a shout out to Bruce Lee's birthday today. Bruce Lee and Jimi Hendrix, both of their birthdays are 27th of November. Both very much influenced me in my thinking and the way I approach things. But anyway, so that's the attitude you got to carry. If it's a passion in you, if it's something that you really want to do, you'll do it. That's how you can tell if it's your calling. If it's your calling, it won't leave you alone. Right? It doesn't matter if everybody in your family tells you can't do it. It doesn't matter if your pastor tells you can't do it. It doesn't matter if your teachers tell you can't do it. Oh, you're not talented enough. Oh, you're not smart enough. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter. Speaking of Jimmy, Jimmy was fired by everybody. He was on the road with Ike and Tina Turner. Ike fired him. Why? Because he was too damn good. Ike liked the ladies, right? And being a musician on the stage and all that, and he had the fly clothes and the money, he got a lot of attention. And Jimmy was getting all the attention. He fired him. Little Richard, same thing. Little Richard said, you Everybody excited, but you get him too excited. I gotta let you go. He fired him. You know what I mean? There are people who were firing him because he was too loud. Oh, he was too much, and he had to do his own thing, right? That's another thing. If someone fires you, if you get kicked to the curb, if you're in a relationship and you get cut, guess what? God's rejection is your protection, and that is good for you. That's a reason why for it. You got to find a reason why you were kicked to the curb, because what you want to do does not fit into the paradigm of that company or that person or that situation. You know what I mean? You got to move on and find out what you're supposed to do. If you really want to do it, if it's something that you really want to do, it almost will consume you. You will find a way to do it. Don H. Johnson started Ebony Magazine with $500. And he had an employee in his office that he heard was spewing negativity in the office. He walked into the office, immediately fired the person. No negativity in my company. If somebody's in your company and they're spewing negativity, you get rid of them. They're gone. Bye. I don't care. You know, they could be negative against you in any kind of way or against what you want to do. Then get rid of them. They're done. Right? Because when you're consumed by your dream and your passion, you know, there's nothing that will stop you. There's a book. There's always a book. It's called Unstoppable. 45 stories of perseverance and triumph for people like you. We're going to go into this book in the future, but not now. Aha. But what I'm going to tell you is, I'll read the story one day. There was a brother. He was from Sudan, and he wanted to go to college. He had no money. All he had was a bag of food and water. He walked from Sudan to Cairo. And if you all don't know how far Sudan to Cairo is, down deep Sudan, then get a map and see it. People offered him food along the way. People offered him rides along the way. He made it. He made it to Cairo, but then it just started. Then he got to get to the United States. He got to the United States some kind of way. His story is really interesting. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to read this sometime in the future, and we're going to talk about this book. But he ended up being a professor at somewhere like, I'm not sure what the school is. I don't like to misquote stuff. But let's see, I'll tell you what this, I think I can tell you what the school is. He ended up being a doctor at this college. From having he had a pair of sandals, clothes on his back, some water and food. And he only had food for 3 days. Let me see what page this is. We're just going it off the deck, you know. This is not necessarily. Okay, so he ended up, I'm trying to see where it was. Okay. He graduated and he became a professor of political science at Cambridge University in England and a well-respected author. Cambridge University. And he went to I believe it was someplace in Mount Vernon for school, but he came to the United States. He ended up in the United States. But can you imagine? And he had nothing. He was barefoot. There's another young man, a basketball player. And I don't believe he has any hands. I don't know what his name is, but I'll find it for you in the future. And he wanted to play basketball. He ended up winning a game for him, or shooting 3-pointers, whatever. Rudy Rudker, Rudy. There's a movie called Rudy. If you get a chance to see it, Rudy was basically a football player, was a scrub, but he wouldn't quit. And see, that's the mark of a winner. You do not quit, right? You will get obstacles. I'm sorry, you just will. The universe, when you have energy, and this is Kabbalion and study of metaphysics again. When you have energy moving in this direction, you will have energy moving in that direction. It always works that way. You always will have opposition. But just like judo, if you know how to use it, the energy, you can move it and help move you in the direction. Move in the direction you want to go into. Energy is energy. So if you have negative energy coming at you, you can take it and flip it and make it positive energy. There's a saying in entertainment that no press is bad press, right? If you got bad press and people, ooh, this person, ooh, that person, ooh, that person, it's good because they're paying attention to you. Example, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian was in a movie with a young man, and the movie at the time, was like X-rated and all this kind of thing. Now, how did she take that movie and flip that movie and become like the big reality star she is? Because she understands alchemy. She flipped that energy, right? Vanessa Williams was Miss America, and they stripped her of her title for some old mess, right? It was less than what Kardashian did. That was years ago. That was less than what Kardashian did. And she still flipped it and managed to turn her career into an amazing career. Shout out to Vanessa. I love you, Vanessa. Call me. Anyway, but so I guess the main point of what I'm trying to say here is that I encourage everybody to go after their dreams, but know that you will have obstacles. What you want to do is create a scenario that the obstacles can work for you and you understand what the obstacles are. If you're going to be a diver, you have an extra spare oxygen tank. You know what I mean? And it's not being negative, it's just being realistic because the way energy works in the universe, if you're moving in one direction, if you're a car, they build a car to be wind resistant. It's wind resistant. They're not going to say they're going to take out to completely get rid of the wind. What they're going to do is work around the wind, right? Because you're moving in one direction, you're going to have a situation. If you're going up that mountain, right? We call it, in Buddhism, we call it Tozan, right? Going up the mountain. And there are people who have gone to Tozan on a spiritual trip to Japan, and their life falls apart. All of a sudden, man, their wife or husband leaves them. All of a sudden, the company, man, falls apart and they lose their job. But something that is removed from your life is an open doorway. When the wall is ripped out of your house, then you can see the sky and you can fly and you have the open air to you. You can move forward into something greater. Okay? So don't be discouraged when you have obstacles. You will have obstacles, and the universe will test you. We'll talk about that also. The only way to get stronger at something is to go through something. The only way to become a master is to be tested. The only way to really become powerful and big and strong is to lift weights. Well, that's not the only way, but I mean, that's what you're going to have to do is you're going to put some effort in and put some energy into that. So I guess that's all I want to say today. Again, happy holidays to everybody. I hope everybody's safe and doing well. I haven't posted in a while, so again, this is coming out of my experiences because I'm going through some exams, I like to call them. I'm going through some exams. Universe says, so you're going to, it was never my plan to do this channel. It was never my plan to do it. But Brother Soul Motor said, you step up and do it. So I did. But anyway, so the universe said, okay, so you're going to talk about this? Okay, well, we're going to give you some exams. So I've been going through a little bit of exams, y'all. So you just tell yourself, when I have a situation, when I've learned something new, it's time to apply it. I'm going through exams. You know what I mean? Or I'm testing the boat. See, a relationship is called a relationship because it's a ship. And the ship don't go nowhere sitting in the harbor. You're going to have to go through some rough seas. You're going to have to go through the hurricane. You're going to have to go through the tempest. That's how you know your ship is strong. That's how you, and the same thing with relationship. Any kind of ship, that's what we call a relationship, right? That's with anything. If you're going to build something, if you're going to create something, if you're going to pursue something, you're going to go through it. You know, if you have the passion, and if it's what you, if it's calling you, it's not your calling, it's what's calling you, then you will make it and you will go through it. And on that note, everybody stay safe. I want to thank my subscribers. I want to thank all the people who are looking at this. Thank you for looking at my channel. Please subscribe if you can. Please ring the bell. I'm new to this thing, so you know, thank you for all the love and everything everybody's saying. And check out the Power Circle. We meet on Sundays. A lot of powerful brothers on there doing some really cool things. It's my honor to be associated with those brothers. And on that note, I want you to remember this. Don't slay your dragons, ride them.